Changes in our economic system are taking place at a rapid pace. The possibility of a digital dollar looms against a backdrop of as many as 40 million people recently unemployed, as well as thousands of small businesses that have closed their doors forever. What can you do to survive the challenges of a decline in the value of the dollar and diminished earning ability due to the economic downturn? Coming up on Open Door, investment strategist Delante Brady talks about ways you can make money despite current conditions, and real estate professional Doxie Jelks explains why you may want to consider home ownership. Open Door with Vince Robinson starts right now. Welcome to Open Door Cleveland. I'm Vince Robinson, and we are talking with Delante Brady. He is an investment strategist and a number of other things. Welcome to Open Door Cleveland, Delante.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Vince. I really appreciate you having me on the call.
Okay. So I just happened to run across you on Facebook, and I saw that you were putting out some very great information about finances, and I wanted to be able to share some of that insight with our listening audience. So as we start, tell us a little bit about Delante. Who is Delante Brady?
Delante Brady is someone who goes through things in life, right? Trials and tribulations, and I learn from them. And everything that I learn in life, I try to put it out into the world for anyone who may be going through the same thing, letting them know that it's possible to get through it, and letting them know that, it's possible to change, really.
Okay. And you identify yourself as an investment strategist. What is your background in investing?
My background I've been investing for really about 7 years. And the first investment that you should ever make is an investment in yourself, right? So I've been investing in changing my mindset. I've been investing in, changing my health, changing, just all of that, just investing into myself. Now, as far as financially, I've been investing, or I have experience for about a year and a half. I have a year and a half of experience.
Okay. So I want to put this disclaimer out there. The information that you receive in this broadcast is not investment advice. If you do any type of investing, you take it upon yourself. You take that risk yourself. So before you make any major moves and you want to consult an investment professional, you can do that. But this is general information. I think you will learn from it. And I think if you do take some of this advice, you may be able to increase your wealth. And that's exactly what we want you to do. I'm looking at the synopsis of your experience, and I see that you have really pulled yourself up by the bootstraps. Would you say that right now you're in a position of financial strength?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, and tell us why.
Why is because I found multiple ways to multiple streams of income. We've produced multiple streams of income, outside of just, working for someone. Me and my fiance, we were actually life, health, and fitness coaches. And so, we with Herbalife, right? We built some passive income with Herbalife. Then we learned how to invest, right? So we have some investments going. We're actively investing where we're actually managing our own accounts and, flipping money and growing our accounts by certain percentages daily. So that's how we're increasing income right now. We're also building a business as well. Mm-hmm. Building a business.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, do you think it's safe to say that you've been able to create a living for yourself and not have to depend on someone else for your income?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's been the whole goal for me, or for us, really, for the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm. So you said that you had been, looking into investing for 7 years. And I think if I'm correct, you said for the past year and a half, you've been doing it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Talk about how you were able to go from point A to point B. What are some of the strategies that you implemented in growing your wealth?
Well, one of the first things was actually investing into the education. Because I was interested in investing and learning how to do it, learning about stocks. But when I went to look for the education, I was quoted $15,000 for a 3-day workshop, on day trading. And then when I looked up an academy in Marietta, Georgia, they were charging $50,000 for the year. So, of course, where I was financially at the time, that wasn't something that I could invest in. So I went to YouTube. I went to the library, got Stocks for Dummies. And even with that, it was just very difficult for me to understand because like the language, it was like a foreign language. And I didn't have anyone who actually did it or knew anyone that could, show me the ropes. So I pretty much let it go. Now it came back around to us when our friends Mike and Ange introduced it to us. And this platform that they introduced to us, it's called I'm Academy. What it does or what it is an educational platform on the cryptocurrency, foreign exchange market, stock market. And it literally takes you from kindergarten to PhD trading in these markets, which is what was most attractive to me because it takes you from knowing nothing to pretty much knowing just everything that you need to know to actually get in the market and, be profitable.
Mm-hmm. So this process that you go through in terms of learning, it provides you a background in multiple ways to grow your wealth and not specifically just one.
Yes. See, there's different markets that we can invest in, right? We have the stock exchange, we have the cryptocurrency market, we have the foreign exchange market. What we want to do is actually learn how to identify the trends, how to identify when the market is going to go up, when the market is going to go down, because all the market is just patterns that repeat themselves. And once you learn the strategy and once you learn, how to identify when to buy and sell, there's actually an opportunity to make money when the value of currencies and stocks, when these things are falling, there's opportunity to make money on that outside of traditional investing where you invest in the share and the only way you can make money is if the value of that share goes up.
Mm-hmm. So I want to rewind just a little bit because you talked about trying to learn about investing and whatnot, and you were encountering these, I guess, gurus who could teach you how to do it, but they wanted $15,000, $50,000. The platform that you engaged in, what would you say was your investment in that? How much were you looking at to do it?
For us to start out, it was just $225 at the time. Okay. $225 got us started with everything. It got us access to the platform, to the educators, right? These are people who, there's 100+ educators on this platform who, in order to be qualified to teach, they have to have made over $100,000 trading in the market themselves. So we're talking about 6, 7, 8-figure traders who are coming on live and showing you their strategy. And they're also calling out investment ideas and trade ideas on these calls, which is how people who have little to no experience are coming in and are able to make money.
Okay. So the reason that I asked that question is not because I'm trying to push people to whatever platform you're using. I just wanted to give them an idea of what type of an investment they would need to make in order to get to the next level. I am observing on YouTube because I'm on YouTube a lot myself, and because I'm attracted to information about investing. A lot of the ads that pop up in the videos that I watch are tailored towards investing. And,
right.
And I also understand that there are folks who have this knowledge, and the way that they make their living is by sharing it with others and charging people for the information. So that in it is a business in and of itself. But what's even more important is people connecting to this information so that they can do what you've done, because you've walked away from, I'm looking at the synopsis that you sent me, and I'm looking at jobs that you had that were not high income jobs. And I'm sure that as you were working those jobs, you were thinking, I got to do better than this. I think that may have been what attracted you to Herbalife.
Absolutely. Because I'm originally from Akron, Ohio. Growing up, I've developed bad eating habits, like probably most of us, did. We ate what we could. And that was really the start of my journey, because those eating habits carried over into my adulthood. And what happened was when I ended up working for the sewer department up here in Cleveland, I was making more money than I had ever made in my life. And with that, I started eating steaks, I started eating good. And what happened was at 20 years old, I ended up overweight. I had gained around 60 to 70 pounds within a year. And my blood pressure went through the roof. I was having, problems with, passing out. And it was because the way that I was eating. And I realized that I needed to make a change. And that was when things really started to change for me, because I started working out, started getting into the gym. And, once you start doing that, you really start breaking mental barriers. And it just kind of, grew from there. It turned into a journey of just becoming better overall. I started meeting new people, and man, it's been a journey. I could talk all day about from the time I was 20 to today.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Delante, because I'm kind of seeing a correlation between the expansion of your consciousness and the change that took place in terms of your lifestyle and the things that you were eating, and the fact that you weren't exercising, and then you began to take it seriously. Do you see that correlation?
Yes. I tell people all the time, when you change your body, like changing your body, your mind has to change. Your body is a reflection of your mind. So in order for your body to change, your mind has to change. And you have to actually see your body before you get that body, right? So with that, it really gave me a different way of thinking about life. I was introduced to a book called The Secret, and I learned about the law of attraction, actually, thinking about the things that you don't have, but that you want, and attracting them, because your daily actions start to align with what it is that you want. And when I actually started practicing this, I really started attracting people who were in alignment with what it was I was trying to accomplish, which ultimately led to me being on the call with you right now.
Very interesting. And I would add to it, I'm a vegetarian, vegan. Technically, because I do wear leather shoes and I have a leather couch in my house, I can't say that I'm fully a vegan. But I live on a plant-based diet. I'll put it that way, and I've been doing that for 40 years. It is extremely impactful, and I kind of chuckled when you said you were eating good. You were eating steaks, and then
right.
After that, 60 pounds and high blood pressure. I'm not telling everyone that you have to give up meat, but you might want to dial back on it a little bit, because the problem is we get too much protein, and that protein kind of does us in. That excess protein is something that actually contributes to heart disease. We're having a very interesting conversation with Delante Brady, an investment strategist, and I guess he's a fitness person as well. We're going to continue our conversation right after we take this break on 95.9 FM WOVU. You're listening to Open Door Cleveland. We'll be right back.
WOVU 95.9 FM. Find us on Facebook. Like our page. Leave us a comment. We are WOVU 95.9, streaming live on WOVU.org.
This is Aja Jones,
Tracy Clark,
Kiko,
Yolanda Armstrong,
Brian Webster.
This is TC Lewis, and you are listening to WOVU 95.9 FM.
We're back on Open Door Cleveland. This is Vince Robinson, and I'm having a conversation with Delante Brady. Before we took the break, we were just talking about the adjustments that he made in his lifestyle that resulted in an expansion of his consciousness, and also resulted in him being able to separate himself from the jobs that he was working. He got serious about investing, and now he is teaching others how to do it. I want to shift gears and talk about the financial world that we're living in, and I'm sure that there are a lot of nuances that you are aware of. I have come across information about a digital dollar, and you mentioned the term cryptocurrencies, and I know Many people in our community are not aware of cryptocurrencies, but there are a lot of things going on in the banking world right now, and it is incumbent upon us to tune in and to figure out what's going on, because if we don't, we're going to get left behind. Let's talk about cryptocurrencies specifically. What can you share with our audience to let them know what they are and how they can benefit by investing in cryptocurrencies?
Cryptocurrency is a digital currency that's on what's called a system called a blockchain, which is a new technology that basically it tracks every single transaction that happens. Bitcoin itself is untraceable, right? It's just something that, I mean, it can be tracked, but at the same time, the sender and the receiver can be basically confidential if they want it to be. But what they're doing is they're taking this new technology of blockchain and they're going to apply it to how we use money, which is where the digital dollar is where that comes into play.
Okay. So what are the advantages of using that type of technology to make financial transactions?
The advantage is how quickly it can happen. And then what it's backed by, right? What we're seeing, what's going on right now, possibly, and it's very likely that there's going to be a complete reset of the monetary system. Because as you know, the monetary system that we have now is failing. I mean, they're just printing money. We left the gold standard, back with Nixon, right? And if you're paying attention to what's going on right now, there's a coin shortage all of a sudden, right? There's this coin shortage. We just went to a restaurant the other day and they said they're not sending us nickels, dimes, and quarters anymore. And word is the feds are hoarding the metals, and the price of gold and silver is going up right now, and they're talking about a digital dollar. So what I see is them find that they want to back the digital currency with gold. I believe we're going to go back to the gold standard, silver standard, as far as backing the value of the digital currency, because our economy is also really is overbought right now. Things don't make sense as far as how it's going up, and we're due for a crash soon. You even have major investors like Warren Buffett, who is now, he used to be against investing in precious metals. He's now putting money into precious metals and betting against the U.S. stock market.
Okay. So if someone is interested in obtaining a cryptocurrency, how would they do it?
There's multiple ways. I mean, you can go to Cash App. You can get verified to send and receive Bitcoin and cryptocurrency through Cash App. You can go to Coinbase.com. You can go to Binance.com. You can also go to Crypto.com.
Okay, so you just visit these websites and you give them some information, and I'm sure you might use a credit card or something like that to make the transaction, and then boom, you're in. It's that easy?
Well, there is a verification process, but it's very simple. It's going to include, we're going to have to get uncomfortable, right, as far as our privacy. In order to have a cryptocurrency wallet and to be able to send and receive cryptocurrency, you're going to have to provide verification. So you may have to give a picture of your ID, right, your driver's license. You may have to provide a utility bill that matches that ID as well. And then in order to be able to purchase cryptocurrency, you have to use some type of currency. So you're going to have to connect maybe a debit card, a credit card, or your bank account. I recommend using a debit card. I never recommend actually connecting your bank account itself. Connect something that, you can cancel like that.
Okay. So the debit card is key in that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And you have some principal, I would say, and that's probably my term and not the banking world's term, but you have principal cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, and then you have what they call altcoins. Could you talk about the difference between Bitcoin and the others?
Okay, so Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency ever created, which makes it pretty much the standard And when Bitcoin is going up, the altcoins are going up because in a lot of cases, you have to actually purchase Bitcoin before you purchase some of these altcoins. So the altcoins are just, other companies that have come up with their own cryptocurrency, and they base the value off of whatever service it is that they provide. So, if you look up Ethereum, right, Litecoin, Ripple, and what their functions are, you'll understand what the value is behind it.
Mm-hmm. And I want to point out to our listeners that, these names that you're throwing out, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, these don't have to be Greek to you. I watched video last night and I heard and saw all three mentioned. And because of what I saw, I'm really paying attention. There's speculation out there that the value of a Bitcoin, which right now is somewhere in the $10,000, $11,000 range. It was 10.8 last time I checked. But, they're speculating that the value of a Bitcoin may go up to as much as $1 million. Do you see that as a possibility?
Absolutely. I definitely see it as a possibility. I'm currently holding Bitcoin right now, but we're diversified. We have, we're investing in different cryptocurrencies. But the only thing that worries me about Bitcoin is the government and the Fed, because if they're coming out with their own digital currency, it seems like they would find a way to make their currency, more valuable. Or so Bitcoin is something that I see it going to about 50,000, 100,000. And that's when we would actually pull out and see what's going on. But I could see it possibly, going to $1 million. But now we have to take the other players into consideration who are getting involved with the cryptocurrency world. And we, just from history, we know how the government is.
Okay. So you see Bitcoin as a speculative tool for one, but you also see it as an investment tool.
Yes, there's opportunity. There's just opportunity and quick returns on cryptocurrency, right? It's not like we're expecting it to be around forever, but while the opportunity is presenting itself, we can make money when it's going down, when it's going up, or we can hold it, for a while and get some really great returns on Bitcoin. Bitcoin and gold have outperformed every other asset this year.
Okay. So you mentioned gold and you talked about precious metals a little bit earlier. Could you talk about gold, silver, and other precious metals as a hedge against inflation and as an investment tool?
Yeah. So precious metals are more so looked at as an insurance policy for investors because, gold, silver, if we look back in the history or look back in the history of man, it's always been a timeless metal, right? Because gold doesn't rust, it doesn't age. They found, scriptures and things inscribed in gold, in the pyramids, and gold is just one of those things that it's always going to have value. So because of that, investors invest in gold when they're uncertain about what's going on in the market, which is exactly what's going on now. And it's just great to have, like I said, as an insurance policy to offset any losses that you may have, from investing in stocks or the indices going down, the S&P indexes. So it's something that we should have. We should just always, instead of putting money into a savings account, I recommend buying bullion with it, or buying bullion with, some of your extra capital.
Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you made that point, because there are some people who have possibly large amounts of cash sitting in a savings account somewhere. And right now we're in a place of negative interest. So your money is sitting there and it's not making money. So talk about the difference between saving and putting your money in something like bullion. Right.
So say like you just mentioned, Vince, if your money is sitting, is losing value. If your dollar is sitting, because the dollar is a depreciating asset, it's been going down and is going to continue to go down. And the cost of living continues to go up, though, right? The cost of living, inflation, So that gallon of milk that was 99 cents, years ago, is now the same dollar that you have. It doesn't get you 99 cents worth of milk. That gallon of milk is, I'm not sure. I don't buy milk, so
Right.
Not sure how much it is today, but I'm pretty sure it's more than 99 cents. So with that being said, if your money isn't somewhere collecting interest or growing, then you're losing money. And much rather it be, in gold, I would much rather it be in something like precious metals than sitting in the savings account or even bonds or CDs, because they're 1.25%, 2% annually. That doesn't even keep up with the rate that the value of the dollar is dropping at.
I saw a cryptocurrency on YouTube last night that had gone up 450%.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, there are ways that you can make money with money, but if you have your money in a savings account or maybe even a credit union account, and I'm guilty of this, so I know I need to make some moves. And I also know that this is a pivotal year to do that because of where the market is, the way it's been propped up by all that extra money that they put into the market and the inflation that will occur as a result of that. I want to talk to you a little bit more because I know that you can also make money with money by trading on foreign exchanges in terms of money. So let's talk about that a little bit when we come back from the break, and we can provide some further information for those who are listening to the show today. We've given you a couple of gems. We talked about precious metals. We have talked about cryptocurrency, and there's another way that you can make money with money, and we're going to dive into that when we come back. You're listening to Open Door Cleveland with Vince Robinson, and our guest today is Delante Brady. We'll be right back.
When you're in my car, we're listening to WOVU 95.9 FM.
What can you do in the battle against COVID-19? Your first task, wear a mask, protect yourself and others.
Armor up, armor up.
Give those hands a 20-second shower with soap and water.
Armor up, armor up.
Give others space 6 feet just in case.
Armor up, armor up.
Get good nutrition, ingest for digestion.
Armor up, armor up.
Vitamin C, D3, and more.
Armor up, armor up.
Elderberries, zinc, and echinacea from the store.
Armor up, armor up.
Get some fresh air. Go climb some stairs.
Armor up, armor up.
Let go of stress. Make sure you rest.
Armor up, armor up.
Your breath is the key to life. Strengthen your immune system, follow the guidelines, and win the battle against COVID-19.
Armor up, armor up.
We're back on Open Door Cleveland with investment strategist Delante Brady. Before we took the break, we were talking about cryptocurrency and precious metals. But there is another way that you can invest in money with money. And I'm alluding to Forex. I could be wrong about this because I'm not an expert. Delante has a much greater knowledge about this than I do. But talk to us about what Forex is and investing in other currencies.
Okay, got you. The first thing that I want to do is clear up the Forex because a lot of people are it's been coined, right, and connected to network marketing, and people believe that it's a pyramid scheme. And I don't want people to miss out on the fact that the foreign exchange market is actually the largest, most liquid financial market in the world, right? It doesn't have anything to do with network marketing. The market itself is something that's been around for centuries, right? And what the foreign exchange market is really simply the exchange of all the world's currencies, right? So these currencies, they're constantly fluctuating in price, and when they're exchanged, there's an opportunity to make a profit on that exchange. $6.6 trillion a day is actually circulated through the foreign exchange market in comparison to the New York Stock Exchange, which only circulates $22 billion a day. And I say only because, 6.6 trillion, 22 billion. And really the advantages And what separates the foreign exchange market from the stock market is the fact that it's so flexible in so many different ways. You decide how much you put down on a trade. You decide how much you want to gain from that trade. You decide how much you stand to lose on that trade. And you decide if you want to actually buy it because you see the value going up, or if you want to sell it because you see the value going down.
Okay. So you say you're in a much better position to control your asset that way.
Yes, it's more self-managed. You're not giving your money to an institution or a person to invest it for you. You're actually doing this yourself. You actually have control.
Okay. And where do you come across the knowledge that enables you to make these trades? I mean, not all of us we don't have the benefit of the homework and the research that you've done. So how do you bring yourself up to speed in terms of making the right choices?
As far as the education you choose?
Yes.
I mean, of course, you can always start out. You can always start out with YouTube. I feel like, any action is better than none. You can go to YouTube, but what I'll tell you is from my experience, it's just a lot easier to pay for your education. That's affordable, and from people that have experience doing it. Like I said, get into action, actually start doing some research on yourself, for yourself, learning things about it. But eventually you're going to want to seek professional guidance. Okay.
So I know that you have some experience in doing the Forex trading and the cryptocurrencies and the precious metals and so forth and so on. I'm just curious about how long it took you to really get to a place of feeling comfortable with decisions that you were making.
As far as placing trades and putting live money into the market.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, with the platform that we went through, I had extra time to dive into the education, and I was putting in, anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a day when I got access to this education. And after the first week, of going through the education, I had actually learned enough to start placing my own trades. Now, another gem. You can practice trading in live markets as they're moving with capital that isn't yours, right? It's called a demo account. It's like a simulation account. So what I did was I opened up a demo account on my second week, after I had started studying. Now, I'm continuing to study. I'm using the tools that this platform is providing. And I grew a demo account by $10,000 in a week. So that really gave me a lot of confidence. The third week, I opened up a live account. I threw real money in there. And another thing that people may be wondering, well, how much capital do I actually have to put up to start a trading account? Thanks to retail brokers, we're now able to start trading with as little as $10. You can use $10. You can start out trading with $10, depending on the brokers that you use. But threw some money in an account, and I grew it by 10% a day. And there's 5 trading days that you can trade within the foreign exchange market. It's open 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. I did that for 5 days, grew my account by 50%. That really excited me. And I'm a hardcore gamer, or used to be a hardcore gamer. I literally took my Xbox One, sold it, reinvested the money into the account because I knew that this was it. Right? This is the way that we're about to build generational wealth. This is how I'm going to be able to get out of my job. And I did the same thing, grew the account by 10% a day, 50% for the week. And when I transferred that money from the brokerage account to my bank account and I withdrew the money, that's when I knew it was real. Wow. Because, my whole life, I spent 15 years in corporate America. So I've only known to make money one way, and that's from the neck down. So to be on the phone, right, to be on my laptop looking at charts, going to my phone, pressing a button, and actually seeing money being created. And then I didn't believe it as it was happening on the screen. And I really didn't believe it until I withdrew the money from the ATM and I had it in my hands.
Okay.
And
hold up. I got to bring this home. Okay. You took your Xbox or whatever, your gaming machine, and you gave that up. And you traded playing video games for investing. You took a demo software and just practiced making money. And in your practice, you were making 10%, which is, for someone who invests in the stock market, 10% is like, you really don't do a whole lot better than that on an average year. If you get 10% from the market, you're doing well. You did that in a week.
Yes. Yes, these are the type of returns that we're talking about. Now, of course, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Just as much as you can gain, you can lose, right? But that's the thing about learning how to actually control and manage your losses, the risk to reward ratio. And once you learn these strategies, you'll find out that the foreign exchange market is just another great way to diversify your investment strategies. Because just like we diversify our portfolios, we also want to diversify the way we invest. Right. So, yes, but it's definitely very lucrative and very high returns that you can create.
So in the few minutes that we have left, I just want to talk about certain economic realities that exist right now. And one of the reasons that doing some of the things that you're doing are so important. At the top of the show, we talked about the United States moving towards a digital dollar. It's already been legislated. You know, they're laying the groundwork for the reset that you have seen take place in America already. We are managing a so-called pandemic right now. They're saying that, you know, they don't want people doing hand-to-hand contact with money, so they're taking money out of circulation. Delante, you referred earlier in our conversation to, you know, businesses not being able to give you coins because they're not getting coins. So there's a lot of things that are going on right now. What do you see ahead in terms of the economic system and how things are going to play out?
What I see is a complete global reset. I see a reset of the monetary system, and us, you know, converting to digital currency. Like I said, I always look back in history as far as what could possibly happen now. And if you think about everything that's happened up until this point, from, you know, going from, you know, just having wired telephones or, you know, to cordless telephones to cell phones, just the advancement of technology, I really see the dollar being no more, and there possibly being one digital currency, or each country having its own digital currency.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I would also say that we're kind of approaching that reality already. I mean, you go to some stores and they don't accept cash at all. So you can't make a purchase if you don't have some type of digital interface, such as a credit card or a phone or an Apple Watch or whatever. So if you think this isn't going to happen, it's already happening. You know, we're thinking about having the mark of the beast on our foreheads, or, you know, having a tattoo of a barcode, or, you know, whatever. Right. But when you have a credit card with a chip on it, you already got the chip. You have a telephone that has GPS on it that tracks you everywhere you go. So, you know, for those who are living in fear about what's going to happen in the future, it's already happening right now.
Facts.
Yeah. So if you haven't been paying attention, now is a pretty good time to pay attention. Delante, if someone is interested in taking advantage of what you can offer in terms of investment strategies, how can they connect with you?
You can definitely go to my Facebook page, of course. It's Delante. That's Delante, Nova, Nova, Brady, Brady. Or you can head over to www.bpgrinc.com, and that's www.bpgrinc.com.
Okay. Well, Delante, it has been great having this conversation with you, and I really do hope that folks will take advantage of the offer that you have made. You seem to be a wealth of information and knowledge about financial literacy and things that you can do to become self-sufficient. I congratulate you on being able to walk away from a 9 to 5 and just start making money with your money. I think that's the lesson that we have to learn. You know, what America teaches us to do is to go to school, to get a job, and be in debt for the rest of our lives. And if we bite on that bait, we end up in debt for the rest of our lives. But you don't have to live your lives in debt. You can actually create the reality that you would like to see for yourself, armed with information and knowledge. It's out there. Go get it. I'd like to thank you for joining us on Open Door, Delante.
Thank you for having me. Really commend you for what you're doing. Thank you for allowing people to come on here and really raise the awareness on topics that, you know, our neighborhood and our communities need to be aware of. So thank you, Vince.
Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having future conversations with you. I've shared with you that I would like to do some online stuff. We'll get you into a Zoom room and give folks an opportunity to come in and ask some questions and maybe find out some things that will help get them to the next level. So, again, we look forward to future conversations with Delante Brady, investment strategist. You're listening to Open Door Cleveland on 95.9 FM WOVU, a Burton Bell Car communication station. We'll be right back after this.
My name is Robert Johnson Jr.
This is Corey Jenkins.
And Courtney Jenkins.
This is Artemis Carter.
Hi, this is Anita Isom.
This is Delvis Valentine.
This is Susan Lecoq.
Eric Nolan is in the building.
I am Talitha Kubave, and you're listening to 95.9 FM WOVU.
Welcome back to Open Door. I'm Vince Robinson, and I am talking with Doxie Jelks. She is a real estate professional right here in the Cleveland area. She's selling folks homes, and I see the posts on Facebook. Folks are happy about the home that they've gotten. So we want to talk about real estate in general, but specifically, we want to talk about real estate as an investment vehicle, as a way to protect your wealth, and as a way for you to make some money. So with that, welcome to Open Door.
Thank you, Vince. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so just give us an idea of what your background in real estate is.
Oh, wow. I have been a licensed real estate agent for 40 years. That's 40, believe it or not. I didn't know that I was going to be in this field this long, but it's something that I'm passionate about, I love, and it doesn't seem like work to me, so I keep doing it. I'm a licensed real estate broker and a licensed agent. So I've had my own company before, been there, done that. I've helped other people successfully obtain their license. I've helped my children accumulate wealth. So it's just something I'm really passionate about.
Okay. What do you think generated or precipitated your interest in real estate?
Well, this is what happened. I was buying my first house. My husband and I got married in like September. By December, I was ready to get out of that apartment. People were knocking on my walls when the alarm clock went off, like, turn the alarm clock off. I'm like, what? So my boss at my job said, you need to call so-and-so. He was my real estate agent, and see about buying a house. I'm like, okay, cool. So I did that, and then in 2 months, my husband and I owned the house. So it was just like getting out of the apartment. We wanted to go, and so we bought a house. So, and then my real estate agent that sold it to me says, you know what? I think you'd be good in real estate. I don't know if I asked him a whole bunch of questions or what, but he said that. So I said, maybe. So I went ahead and just got my license just to see if I could pass, and I did. And everything went from there.
Okay. So on today's show, we're talking about ways that you can create a future for yourself through different ways of investing. We spoke with an investment strategist who proposed cryptocurrencies. He proposed precious metals. He also proposed Forex, foreign exchange, in terms of currencies and whatnot. Real estate traditionally has been a way that people have handed down wealth generationally. It's also been a way that people have been able to create a means to an end, to create income for themselves and to survive no matter what's going on in the economy. How do you see real estate as a means of generating, maintaining, and creating wealth?
Wow, so much that goes into that. For instance, our first home, we sold it about between 5 and 10 years later. I can't remember, to buy our second home, when we used the money we made off of the sale of that home to put down on the new home, so we didn't have to worry about a savings. So to me, it's like a savings account, especially for those who aren't good at saving. You're saving the money through the equity in your home. So I think that's wonderful. And I also believe that the only way to accumulate wealth is to own things, because what people are paying for rent is ridiculous nowadays. They can buy a home for what they're putting out of their first month and security for rent. I can get people into homes for even less than that. So I tell people it's very important to have a decent credit score. It's not, you don't have to have the best. You don't have to have an 800, but a decent credit score, and you can buy. And then young people, I always encourage them, because they don't want to make commitments, this millennial group. But I tell them, buy a two-family, live in one unit, rent the other out, so you're not paying anything. If you don't want the responsibility of taking care of the home, get a property manager. If you want to just go rent in a condo downtown, still buy an investment property somewhere. That's my view of it. Because real estate goes up, up, up. We had a time there where it went down, but it's back up now.
Okay.
It will always be a good investment.
Right. So I wanted to ask you about the current state of the market, because we are in the midst of an economic downturn despite what we're seeing on Wall Street. Reality is that more than 40 million Americans, I've heard, have lost their jobs, and you're seeing a decline in small businesses that have not been able to maintain their business because people aren't spending money because they don't have income, or they have diminished income. So what's the state of the housing market right now?
Well, it is a seller's market. And what I mean by that is there's not a lot of inventory. So you have more buyers than you have homes out there on the market for sale. As soon as the house is put up, that house can literally be sold within a few hours. So it's so discouraging to buyers nowadays, because they're up against multiple offers. They're making offers on 5 or 6 homes. They get discouraged because they get, outbid by cash investors coming in our city and everything. But I encourage them not to give up, because, like I said, the rent is so high, they can get into a home for less than what they're paying for rent. And people always have to have shelter, always. So it's going to be a good investment. And yes, some of my buyers who were in the process of buying homes, they couldn't, because they did lose their job, which is unfortunate. But that's just a temporary situation. They'll get another one. We'll be right back on it, and we'll buy a house. But it's a seller's market. So you can't be, let me think about it overnight and I'll get back to you tomorrow. That house is gone. So you have to be really committed to making up your mind that first day that you see a house. Either you want it or you don't, and you have to go for it. Back in 2000, we had a crash, whatever year that was, stuff was dirt cheap, and you can make offers. If the house was 100, you can offer them 50. It might, get accepted. Not today. If a house is on the market for 100,000, it will probably sell for 110,000, because you'll have multiple offers and people will go over the list price because there's not a lot of inventory.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
In light of the lack of availability of money for a lot of people, how are they able to obtain properties if they don't have a good credit score, or if they don't have a significant amount of savings to make that down payment?
Well, I get people in houses all the time without down payment. That's not the issue. The issue is the credit. And the magic number nowadays is 640. If you have a 640 or higher FICO score, I can get you into a house with no money down. If your credit score is lower, I can go down. Most lenders will go down to 580, but then you're talking about bringing money to the table. So you at least need a 580 or higher to buy a home, which is not hard to do. So a lot of people, they get in trouble with not paying things on time, and they double up the next month, or they have their credit cards maxed out. There's what's called a utilization rate, where the balance on your credit card, if you have $1,000 limit, you should not charge any more than 30%. So that means $300 is the max you should charge per month on your credit card, because that affects your credit score. And a lot of people don't know that. They think, well, I pay my credit card on time, but that's not all that goes into it. So it's very important. And a lot of people, I encourage them to get with credit repair companies to get their score up if they're having a problem. So even if you're not buying a house, if you're buying a car or whatever, that credit score is so important, because your interest rate is going to be based on your credit score. Higher your credit score, lower your interest rate. So it's always good to try to get a free copy of your credit report. You're allowed to get a free copy once a year and just see what's on it and see why it's low. Because when ask people, I said, well, why is your credit low? They're like, well, I don't know. So they need to get a copy, look at it, examine it to find out exactly what is bringing it down.
Okay. And how do you address the concerns of potential buyers who are looking at, one, the fact that the house doesn't really become an asset until it's completely paid off? So in a sense, it's really a liability until you pay that mortgage off. But two, while you are owning that or purchasing that home, you're also paying property taxes, you're paying maintenance, you're paying all the costs that are associated with owning that home. How do you allay their concerns about those issues?
Well, I tell people you're either buying the house for yourself or you're buying your landlord's house for them, because that's essentially what you're doing. If you're paying $1,000 a month in rent, you're helping that landlord pay off their house. Take that $1,000, buy your own house, and you will accumulate equity in the property. It won't be immediate, but at least you will be accumulating something. And you can write all of that off on your taxes. The property taxes, the interest on the loan, you can write that all off. So it's much better buying your house for you instead of buying your landlord their house, because that's what you're doing.
Okay, so obviously what you rolled out is basically an economic reason that it makes more sense to buy that property rather than to rent it.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about how you as a person, as an investor, can actually make money through real estate.
Okay, like I tell young people, young people have it made and they just don't know it. If I had to do it over again, what I would do. Young people, buy a 2-family, live in one unit, rent the other out. Live in that house for 1 year, then buy another one. You only have to put 3.5% down when you're living in a property. So if a regular investor has to put 20 or 25% down if they're not going to occupy it. So I would go from year to year and just buy a property every year, move in it, move out, move in it, move out. That way I'm only putting 3.5% down and accumulate all of these investment properties. That's what people should do.
Okay. And what you just described was a situation where you don't really have an emotional attachment to that property. If you get it and then you're willing to walk away from it 2 or 3 years from down the line.
It's an investment.
Yes.
You're making money.
Okay.
Collecting that rent.
All right. Also, if you could talk to our listening audience about real estate investment trusts. I mean, there are ways that you can invest in rental properties, but not have to have the hands-on of, getting that water tank replaced when it goes out, or the windows are leaking and you got to do that maintenance to stop the leak from damaging the property that you own. So talk about real estate investment trusts as a way of making money with real estate.
Well, are you referring to property management? You don't want the headaches of that?
No, I'm talking about investing in a fund, a real estate investment trust. Are you familiar with those?
I leave that to the attorneys, because that's something an attorney does for you.
Okay. So yeah. So talk about the property management side of it.
If you don't want to be bothered with being called at 2 a.m. for a leaking hot water tank, you can hire a property management company. Normally, they charge around 10% of whatever the gross rents you're bringing in, and they will handle all that. So you don't have to be bothered. The tenants don't have to see you. All you do is get a monthly statement showing money's coming in, money's going out. So if people don't want to be bothered, that's a good way of still accumulating wealth without being the hands-on person.
Okay, so the idea is that you acquire a number of properties and then you let someone else manage those properties for you. You take a portion of what you're receiving in terms of income and then you pay that person to basically deal with the headaches that you don't want to deal with.
Yes, and you can write all that off, all of those expenses, even the property management. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about a career in real estate right now? You've been doing it for 40 years. Obviously, it must have paid off for you. What does it take to be successful in the career of being in real estate?
You have to think of it as a business, and a lot of agents get into it not running it as a business. It's just a side hustle. It won't work like that because there's so much involved in responsibility now involved with real estate. When I first got into real estate, we had 1-page purchase agreements. Now we have 5- and 6-page purchase agreements and tons of additional addendums we have to get signed. And the responsibility is just greater now. So you have to run it as a business, profit and loss, marketing, you have to budget. You just can't, roll over in the morning and say, oh, what am I going to do today? You have to have your schedule, outline your appointments. It's not as glamorous as what HGTV makes it seem like. Okay. And normally I tell people if they want to get into this to have some money saved up because it's going to take a few months before you start bringing in income because it takes 2 to 3 months for each transaction before you get paid. So you have to have something to lean on in the meantime. And buyers can tell when you're desperate and pushing them to sign to buy a house. They can just feel that, that, and you don't ever want it to be that way because they can tell. So you have to be comfortable, relaxed, and do the best for your buyer and your seller. So just think of it as a business. It's the main thing I can say to them. It is a business, not a hustle.
Okay. Based on what you're seeing right now, and you said it was a seller's market, we're expecting a significant economic downturn in the coming months. We're also expecting that the stock market is going to take a major hit. What is your outlook in terms of the housing market and how the average American is going to be affected by that downturn?
Well, for those who are not able to make their mortgage payments, we probably will see foreclosures. So unfortunately, that's a way to get more inventory into the market. So buyers might have more inventory for them. It takes a long time for foreclosure. So hopefully people will be able to get a job and save that house. But yeah, I do see, several a lot of foreclosures because of this, because if people can't make the payments, they'll have to give up the house.
Yes.
But a lot of people say that when it was about buying a house, oh, I don't want to buy a house because I might lose my job. Well, if you rent, what are you going to do? You got to pay your rent. You're going to lose your apartment, right? You got to go somewhere. So if you own a house, you can always sell the house and still come out good,
Okay.
See, you're not able to maintain it, sell it.
All right. So you have just given us some great insight on why owning a house might be a good idea. Your suggestion for that young person to go out and buy that duplex, rent half of it out, live in half of it, and let your tenant pay your house note for you, and then you acquire additional properties. If you go through that and you do it successfully, you may not ever have to work a job.
Absolutely. That's the plan.
Yeah, okay.
Well, don't want to work a job.
With the way things are headed right now, we're going to have to start looking for ways that we can generate income without working for someone else and working for ourselves. So I want to thank you for sharing that insight with our listening audience. Thank you for joining us on Open Door.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thanks, Vince.
All right. And Doxie Jelks, if someone wants to reach out to you for more insight on the whole real estate game, how can they connect with you?
They can call and or text me at 216-470-3492. They can find me on Facebook, Doxie Jelks, DOXIE I'm also on the gram at the Realtor 216.
Okay, there you have it. The Realtor 216 on IG. and all those other social media places. Once again, thank you for joining us on Open Door Doxie.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you to our listening audience. Know yourself, love yourself, be yourself. Make it a great day, Cleveland. Peace.